Good morning, good afternoon, good night, all that stuff. What's up? Mike up with Gus. Another edition of some interviews with one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. I don't know if anybody knows this, but Sam Knight is literally one of my favorite people in professional wrestling. We're going to get into why he's one of my favorite people, why he's considered one of my brothers of wrestling, and what Sam Knight's been up to since he departed from California, cuz he's obviously making noise. He's obviously making waves, and he's making a name for himself out there. So I just wanted to make sure everyone knew his name. His name is Sam Knight. Sam Knight, welcome to the show.
Appreciate you having me, man. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, brother.
I'm digging that jersey.
You like that? That City
Yeah, I
Connect,
do.
baby.
I do. I do.
A
I
lot,
do.
a
I
lot of,
do.
a lot of people don't like it though. I'm like, hey man, like you either got to be a fan of it or you're just not. Me, I love it. I love the bright colors and stuff, man. So I know there's not many bright colors out in the Midwest. So
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Sam Knight, the biggest cliche question of all, of course, we're going to start with this. First of all, Sam Knight, the wrestler, I think has developed into something good and great as of late. I see that your mental is really there with wrestling, meaning like you're tuned in, you're tuned into what's going on. You're aware of what's going on around you, but you weren't always that guy that was aware of your surroundings. You were really focused on Sam Knight, the individual, and making himself a wrestler, but you developed into something much greater. My biggest question to you right now to start off is when did you wake up one day and said, wrestling is it? This is I'm gonna be a wrestler.
Um, when I left Los Angeles after losing my father, um, so like if we go back in time, you were the first person to really put a lot of stock in me. And so you gave me a championship run, and I think I was starting to kind of try to find my niche because I broke away from people.
Right.
Um, because remember, I was a follower. It was like there were three of us, and I won't go into names. So there were three of us. We were all together all the time.
Right.
We traveled everywhere, and I was learning, but I was learning bad habits.
Mm.
And so I had finally broke away from those individuals. Much respect to them now. God rest one of their souls. Um, I had gone off to Knox Pro. I had become a entertainer. I learned who Sam Knight really is. My father ended up passing away, and I was done. Like in 2012, October 2012, I had my last match for Battleground Pro Wrestling against Extreme Loco. Harvey and I had that 1-on-one for the Ring Warrior Championship, and I was done, dude. It was over because I lost it. Like Dad died, Pops was a major influence in my career, and when Dad died, it was just like I don't want to do this anymore. Um, so I moved, and then in January of the following year, 2013, I started seeking out wrestling companies here, wanted to help out, and I found that itch again, and it really clicked because I wasn't in competition with egos. Now, granted, there were people who didn't like me because I came from SoCal, and
Right.
who thought that I thought that I was better than them. But all it took was a conversation to realize I was cool. And so
I
it
get
just
that.
took off. It just took off from there, man. Like it still took me some time to figure out who I am. It took some time. Now I'm just, like you said, I'm locked in. I'm locked in, and I'm on my way out. Like what people don't know is next year is it for me. Like November of 2025 is I'm having my last match. That'll be 20 years I've been a professional wrestler, and I'm going out on my own volition. It's on me, not because I'm hurt, not because I'm sick of the business. It's just like I understand that I have bigger things I need to focus on now.
Right.
We'll get into that, but yeah, yeah. So
So Sam Knight, the mature man, huh?
yeah, yeah. I say old, you say mature. We'll leave it at mature. It sounds better.
We'll call it seasoned. We'll call it seasoned.
See, grizzled.
Now somebody who's so focused and invested in wrestling, you say that you're going to stop next year. wrestling.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Now, are you going to end up doing the promoter thing, the school thing? Or are you just completely just going to be done with the business for until someone just knocks on your shoulder and says, "Bro, you know you're not done."
Yeah. It's, so you're never really done. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, oh, I'm done. I'm walking away from the business. If you love it, like if you're in love with it, like you and I are, you're
Mhm.
never really done. There's always something about professional wrestling that brings you back. What I'm doing is taking my leave from the physical aspect of it.
Okay.
I currently work a job that requires me to be physically fit and okay, at least okay, every single day. You know what I mean?
Speaking of which,
Uh,
Sam Knight's a male dancer now, so if you guys
yeah, come see me at Chubby's. That's where I am. Uh, but no, my job requires me to be physically fit. Not to mention, that I am the lead of a team of people that I have to protect as well.
Gotcha.
So if I go and get hurt in pro wrestling, and I try to come back to my job, and I can't protect my team, what good am I?
Right. I
You
feel
know what I
that.
mean? And it took me a while to kind of have to weigh my options, and it wasn't until I had a conversation with myself. Like, I legitimately sat and looked at a mirror and went, the bigger companies are not looking at you, not because you're not good, but because you're not what they want. And you have to understand that. You have to be at peace with that. And as a professional wrestler, it's hard to be at peace with being told no.
Yep. I get
But
that.
but but purpose. There's a purpose for everything. There's a purpose for our lives. There's destiny, and I sound like my dad when I say this. There's destiny, and when you realize that your destiny is not what you thought it was supposed to be, and things start falling in line another way, you just got to go with it. And that's what
Right.
it was for me, man. Like, it clicked. It was just like, you know what? I'm putting miles on my body, miles on my car. I'm losing money. I'm taking away from my legacy. They're not getting time with me. All right. Yeah,
I
let's make
feel
it.
that. I feel
Let's
that.
make let's make the conscious decision. And so, um, now it's every match that I do has to have a purpose up until November.
Okay.
Everything I do, it has to have a purpose. I've started reaching out. Like, I don't hit up promoters anymore. They message me, but there's a couple of people who I've said, "Hey, I'll come back and work for you because I'm getting ready to close out." You and I've had that discussion,
Right.
and it's like, um, if I go do these shows, it's got to be mutually beneficial. The longer the days of me doing favors, no disrespect to anybody, but it's like,
Right. Right.
how
Right.
is it going to benefit both of us? You know what I mean? Because I'm not in California anymore. I'm not a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's a plane ticket. It's a hotel room. It's a rental car. Like,
Yeah.
um, and
Food.
and I'm it's food. And also, most importantly, it's time. Like, it's time. If it's and when I say mutually beneficial, I'm not even talking about money. You and I, you're my brother. So if you're like, I come out, say less. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, so yeah, man, my perspective changed a lot. So yes, I'm going to promote. Um, I did a lot of work with Destination Six in the past 2 years,
I see
and
that.
took that company to another level. And then it was time for me to leave. And everyone's like, "Did you leave on negative terms?" I'm like, "No, it's just differences of opinion, and I needed growth." Because when you're the top guy for so long, regardless, like, people are like, "Well, you were the booker." Yeah, and I wanted to drop the belt every single show. There was just people that weren't. There were guys who just wouldn't get there, like guys who were pushing who just they were missing points, storytelling, mic work, ring work. I'm like, I'm not the best, but geez, come on now, like, um, but I did
Help
work
me
with
out
this.
here.
Yeah, help me out. Like, I did work with Destination Six. I've done work with New Wave Pro Wrestling out of Terre Haute before they closed doors. Uh, and I have a laundry list of kids who I've mentored in the past few years. So, to do the promoter thing and the booker thing is something I think I'm going to really thrive at. Not to mention, I have a lot of friends who are producers for the bigger companies who have taught me. So now I'm taking my shot at producing as well. So basically, protect my body, use my brain.
Hey, nothing's wrong with that, man, and I
You know,
respect that, and a lot of people, I think a lot of wrestlers out there, they won't come to grips with that kind of like that talk with themselves. And it sucks because I've seen a lot of good men that can do good things outside of the ring for the public that just can't no more because they gave everything they could to something they knew damn well wasn't going to extend past a local booking for 30 bucks.
it's ego,
It
Gus.
is
It's ego,
Oh, I
and
know that. Me and you
we've been
both
in
know
locker room, but we've been in locker room so much. But let me explain what I mean by ego. I'm not talking about ego from the sense of they're only thinking about themselves. Their ego won't let them realize that there's nothing left in this, and they're afraid to open up their minds to explore other options.
that. Right.
That's what it is. It's I'm good at wrestling, and I'm good, dude. Like I'm good. I can carry the best, and I can carry the worst. But it's me carrying me when I walk out of that locker room and get in my car and drive home.
Right, 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 right,
You
right.
understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And it's checks and balances. Is that 50, 60, 100, 120, $200 booking worth me having to go have surgery? Hashtag me 2020. Is it worth me going to have surgery and paying more out my pocket for surgery than what I'm getting paid to be in the ring? Come on, man. You've got to. It's like they used to tell us when we were growing up, have a backup plan. And I'm not shitting on any wrestler anywhere, bro. I'm not. Please, for anybody who hears this, it's not me talking about you're stupid. This is me saying you need to prepare for life after pro wrestling, and you have to prepare for life, for what happens in life if you just don't get where you need to,
Hmm.
because not everybody does.
Right.
No matter how good you are.
And that's for basketball, football, baseball, anything, any sport, anything
Yeah,
that you're trying to advance, and you have to have a backup plan. Like
yeah.
you have to have a backup plan.
And people aren't teaching that. And another thing that I really drove home with this professional wrestling, God has blessed me to be able to use professional wrestling to bring this in, is mental health awareness. We all know what it's like to send that email out to that promoter, to that company,
Hmm.
to that business that you're trying to get a sponsorship from, to that neighborhood, and then they ignore you.
Oh yeah.
It's a kick in
Oh
the nuts. And once enough rejection builds up, it starts to mess with your mental, your psyche. People don't address that. People don't address the day to day lives, the things that happen. How many shows have I shown up to where I got dumped, got cheated on? How many shows have I shown up to where I had a bad day? The day we had our show together, I found out my dad's cancer was going to paralyze him, only to find out that it was going to kill him. And we had a barn burner of a show. You remember in that locker room at the end when I walked in and I just lost it
oh yeah.
and then had to rush to the hospital after? Mental health.
Yeah, I get it, man. Trust me. Like I think we've had plenty of conversations over the years, especially with like I don't want to get into detail of it, but Pops played a huge role in me staying in the business.
Yeah.
That's something
Yeah.
like that's something that's not, it's not like it's not a secret, but it's just something publicly that I've never really like spoken about. Like the people that were there that night and maybe some close people to me know what happened that night, but it's like if it weren't for Pops that night, I probably would have broke mentally immediately and just walked away. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
But
remember.
it took a man to take another man to the side and be like, look, man, here's the Pops conversation. I took that in, and here
Boom.
me and you are now 15
Boom.
years later, damn near. But nobody understands that mental health like hit, you know what I mean? Like there's guys like Ryan Kidd who have like created like awareness and foundations, and I respect that about him and what he's done, because a lot of people aren't going to step up and say, hey man, I got some fucked up things going on in my head, and it's related to wrestling, and it
Yeah.
sucks because
Yeah.
that's all people got sometimes is this wrestling, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for you to step out of that and be aware of that is that's a congratulations on you. That's
Thank you.
also, you know, you're probably rubbing that off on the people around you. So that's a good thing to spread, not cancer. You're spreading, and I don't mean like that, but I mean you're not spreading bad things in the locker room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If people look at you like, Sam, I'm gonna be Roman Reigns one day. Cool, but you got to be Paul Heyman too sometimes, and you got to be the green shirt guy, and you got to be the guy who sells the hot dogs. Fuck, man, you got to even probably be the guy who even sells the fucking parking ticket. So just remember that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it so good for you, you know what I mean? And it's like I feel that me and you've gotten a lot of things off our chest with each other.
Yeah.
I could bring Kyle into this situation. Us three
Yeah.
have had conversations, and as men, we weren't shy about letting our feelings out. And a lot of these wrestlers need to understand, yo, man, speak up, say something.
Yep.
Is everything okay? Do you have
Yeah.
a backup plan? Because you're
Yeah.
gonna need one, because this business is gonna punch you square in the fucking face hard. Hard.
I tell a lot of the younger guys now, a lot of guys that come in. I've my inbox is full of wrestlers from age 18 up into 40 who are hitting me up going, "Hey Sam, I had this kid call me legend," and I was like, "I'm not a legend, man. I'm just a man doing the same thing you're doing. I just want people to remember me as I'm building a legacy." But
Right.
I tell guys all the time, and I'm like, number one, you have to know who you are as a person. Screw the character. If you don't know who you are as a man, as a person, as an individual, you're never going to be great with that character. That character is nothing but a character. You're just pretending to be somebody.
But
So if you don't know who you are, like if you don't know who you are, you're failing yourself. You're screwing yourself.
pretty
And then
much.
I tell him the same thing Roland Alexander told me years ago. Before you and I met, I was trying to get up to APW, and he said, "There's no money to be made in professional wrestling." And when he said that to me, this is the time of sending VHS videos. You remember that? Put them inside the big vanilla envelope, send them on up. So
Big time.
so and he was like, "There's no money to be made in professional wrestling." I'll never forget the conversation. I talked to Roland for 5 minutes. That was like some of the most informative 5 minutes of my life. And to realize how lucky I got to get 5 minutes with Roland Alexander. And and he's just like, if you want to come up here and train, just know nothing's guaranteed. And that's always been in my head. Nothing is guaranteed. The problem is, I'm getting ready to step on toes. The professional wrestling world has changed so much that people begin to feel entitled. They feel entitled to bookings, entitled to respect, entitled to respect is the biggest thing. It is so frustrating. I sound like a grizzled old vet, but I'm also the guy that stands in the middle of the gap that looks at the old school and the new school, and I say, "Hey, all values work. We can figure it out. Like we can figure it out." And you said it best a few minutes ago. People don't hold conversations. This isn't just professional wrestling. This is life. We can't be direct. We use social media. Whew. So, so
Hey,
instead of
man.
calling, instead of calling that dude and going, "Hey man, can we talk?" Or instead of pulling that dude to the side of the show when you see him on it, instead of faking and shaking his hand, uh, we've gotten to the point where we've gotten so comfortable with the disrespect, we don't know how to be men or women anymore, or individuals for that matter. We don't have direct conversations.
Not at
But
all.
that's not just pro wrestling. That's life. You
That's
said
life.
it best. Me, and Kyle, we'll get on the phone and we'll be like, "Hey man, you made me mad. What did I do?" This. And it's going to be that back and forth spat with all three individuals, or back and forth spat with you and me, or back and forth spat with you and Kyle, or Kyle and I. And we'll do that, and we'll have it out. And the thing that we always do is we give each other the opportunity to speak instead of cutting each other off.
Mhm.
And then when it's done, it's like, so what is our solution? We can bitch all day, but have we found a solution?
Right.
And then once you find a solution, everybody goes on their merry way. That's the way it's supposed to be. Adulting is being able to have a conversation, and you may not always agree. Sometimes you agree to disagree.
Right. But
You
the
know.
line of respect has always been there because we can have conversations with each other.
Right. Exactly. That's
Are
why
you in a
that line of
sauna?
respect is there. Yeah. trying to get rid of stat, bro.
Hey man, I feel it, bro. I feel it.
I'm out here trying to drop it, brother.
But I get it, man. I get it. A lot of wrestlers nowadays. This is a direct message to all the young guys out there. Like, hey, man, have a backup plan. Get a big brother in the business. You don't have to like, don't go out and attach yourself just to anybody. Feel it out.
Hmm. Hmm.
Go to your trainers. Talk to people. Like, hey, man, you find yourself in the locker room with the same kind of guy over and over. Like, you see Sam Knight, every other show, and you know about it. Sit next to him, man. Just open your ears, open your mind to everything. But have a backup plan. Have somebody you're able to talk to in this business. If you're in the business, have somebody who's been through it, who's done it, who's been shitted on, and is still there grinding it out to tell you you ain't gonna do nothing unless you're gonna go do this. You know what I mean?
You need
But
people that's gonna tell you the truth. Like
straight up,
that. That's really
straight up.
what it is. And shame on people who don't like promoters or workers who've been through the shit and don't tell people about the shit. Like, bro, like when you deal with carny promoters, which we all have, when you deal with those shifty people that we all have done, and promoters who deal with shifty workers who
All the time.
book to work with you, and then they take your deposit and then don't show up. Like, you
Oof.
know, oh, I know, stiff. Like promoters don't get it, and workers don't get it. No one wants to have the mutually beneficial conversation. Like it's a business, and business means you both get something out of it. And no one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about being honest with each other. Everyone wants to, it's everyone's working each other for what? Like I tell you what, man, if people were more honest, the business would be better off. But I'm not trying to be friends with people. Like honestly, if I'm being real, and I know it pisses people, I have an acquired taste. Like I'm easy to talk to. You can come sit and talk with me in the show, but man, you better be prepared because I'm gonna tell you about you, and I expect you to tell me about me. You know, and when I'm telling you about you, I have enough credible references to that you can go look at that say this man knows what he's talking about.
I think I was always a fair promoter when you were wrestling, like as
Yep.
meaning like I was always straightforward with you.
Straightforward. Yep.
I, I mean,
Always.
I had my bumps in the road and shit, but for the most part, it was here's what's going on, here's what we're doing, and that's it. You know what I mean? And I was truthful with you about a lot of things. And I had guys in my locker room that gave good criticism to you guys that I thought, and a lot of you guys took that, and were like, cool, man, like we got some good people back here, like SoCal Crazy being in our locker
Oh,
room was
loved
just,
it. I love that.
just
I love him.
having him around was always a blessing because he was one of those guys that would take his time, listen to you, and break it down for you truthfully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truthfully.
Yep.
Like he's a gentle soul, but trust me, he will break your heart with the truth because that's
Straight
that
shooter.
he will tell you the truth. And I appreciated having guys like that in my locker room, and I think that watching you develop into a promoter, not saying I was like the best promoter or anything, but like that, it was just like it was cool to see one of my good friends like just grow into like something that I wanted to do because trust me, man, I didn't want to stop promoting. Anyone who knows me knows I did not want to stop. I didn't even want to have that show last year, ORC versus FCW. I did want to have the show, but I knew it was the me and Disney. We all knew it was the end for FCW. I just didn't want to do it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it
We
it,
knew
it
it was
was
up.
yeah, but it was so good and so cool to see you move forward. You know what I mean? To see you develop into that because you were allowed to have those conversations. You got those hard truths. You knew what was up and you knew what you were getting yourself into. And you got yourself into it. And next year you're getting yourself out. You know what you're doing with it. And that's I not gonna sit here and say I take credit for that at all, but it's nice to know that there was a pattern and something got laid down to lead up to that. And if we can help more people like that to like, look, man, if you're not going to go to the big show, if you're not going to get that big money, then here's a better plan for you. Have a backup plan. And if you're going to stay in the business, learn everything you can. And then when your time is up in the ring, teach it, pass it on if you're trying to stay in the business, you know?
I, it's funny. So I'll say a couple things to what you just said. Number one, you had a lot to do with my career. I had a lot to do with it, and I always tell people that my first championship came from working for you. And the thing is, so people get some kind of general premise behind it. I didn't even know I was winning the championship the night I won it. Like I was under the impression my old tag partner was taking the belt because that's all he kept telling me, and I was just like, whatever, I'm in the match, it's cool, let's just go do it, have fun, make some moments, and go home. And I remember in the middle of the business, in the middle of the meeting when we were talking about this match, you said, "Oh yeah, by the way, Sam Knight's up," and I went, "Excuse me." I remember I looked at you, I looked at Cooter, and I went, "What?" Yeah, you're up, you're winning it. And I remember watching people who were supposed to be close to me turn on me in a matter
Uh-huh.
of seconds. In a matter of seconds. And that was my first hard truth about professional wrestling. It was my first hard truth to realize guys that I had rolled in with flipped. And that's because you put me in position to learn that hard truth. And I don't think I've ever told you that. Like, thank you for putting me in that position to realize the snakes that I had in my court. And so after that, it was okay, I need to move differently. And I learned from SoCal Crazy. I learned from Cooter. I learned from you. Gino, who is young in the business, but he's so wise.
So
Like, people don't mess with Gino because Gino don't play no games. Like, he's straightforward. But if you talk to Seville, mild man, just kind-hearted person, everything he's he's a good dude. Like, he's a good dude, right? And like,
yeah.
so I'm sure there's a lot more guys that I came up with in SoCal that when I see, even when I left SoCal, who started calling me going, "Hey man, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of what you're doing, man." My buddy, he's a referee for WWE, and when he saw my post about me taking limited dates, he texted me and he goes, "So tell me about these limited dates and why you're walking away." And so we had a conversation about it, and I told him, and he said he's so proud of me for being able to have that come to Jesus meeting with myself. He said, "I just wish I would have met you years ago because you would have been under contract." I said, "You know what? I'm okay not being under contract. I'm okay with it." And when guys start realizing that it's okay to say, "Hey, this was my dream. I didn't fail, but it's taking me a different place,"
Right.
they'll be better off. If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
Hey man. I think we've had some fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, a lot.
I think we definitely had some fun. It's refreshing to hear somebody that's been in the business so long and that has been through so much and actually has seen different territories to
Yeah.
know that a lot of it's the same. It's all going to end up the same. If you personally aren't pushing yourself to get out there, like here, perfect example, Gino Rivera, guaranteed he has a backup plan. Does it
Oh
look
yeah.
like he does it look like he has a backup plan? Fuck no. Hell
No, but
no.
he does.
Hell
But
no.
he does.
It, I know he does. And I'm not saying he's personally told me that. I'm not putting his business out there because I don't know it.
Right,
But
but
what I
but you
do know,
know,
but you know, you
you
know,
just know.
you know he has a backup plan. You see that he puts all his effort into wrestling while he's in it. And it's like, if you're not doing that, what are you doing it for? You know what I mean? And it's like, he's living his dream. Does he want to be the WWE champion? Of course he does. Of course he does. That's everyone's goal as a kid. Now, I'm pretty sure, and he still probably has this goal, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in there, Gino has said, okay, look, man, there's a certain level I'm going to get to, and I'm going to get to it. And once that's accomplished, and once that's done, I might have to go to my backup plan. And who knows? He's probably hit that goal several. He keeps hitting that goal several times because he's like, fuck it, I'm just going to keep hitting that level because that's where I'm at. I think honestly, and this is just my opinion, I honestly think we're going to see Gino as a WWE ref one day. That's just my honest opinion because of the mind he has for the businesses. That's a great guy to have in the ring with two good. You know what I mean? If he's not going to be the big Drew McIntyre, then he needs to be a key element, and that's I think guys like Gino, guys like Sam Knight. Follow these guys, follow their lead, follow the backup plan idea, follow like what you got going on. Sam knows he's a good mentor in this business. You know this. So I see what you're doing out there. You're planting all these seeds. You're invested in a lot of these promotions out there, which man, I wish a lot more people would do what you're doing in Southern California. Like going to all these promotions, building all these relationships, and it seems like everyone's getting along out there a little bit, right?
I mean, wrestling has its days,
Right. I get it.
but
But for the
but
most part, it seems like you're out there spreading the gospel.
yes,
So
sir. Trying to at least. I mean, I
yeah,
had a great role model. Like, I had a great role model who became a intricate part of professional wrestling before I did. My dad was my role model, and people clung to him for that reason. So, yeah, that's it for
man.
me.
He's like, he's that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's my mindset. Is it's like if I can leave, if I could leave. So I said this at my dad's funeral. I said if I could be half the man my father was, I'll be fine. Years later, from someone close to me, they said you've surpassed that. Because in all things, I still give God the glory and tell God thank you for everything I've accomplished, and in all things, I stay humble. Because I could walk around with a big ego, man. And you know what? I did for a while. I won't sit here and act like I'm perfect because I did for a while. I walked around with this big old ego, bro. And um, then I got hurt. 2020, I blew my knee out and I had surgery and I was out for 10 months. And it was probably the worst 10 months of my life because you start realizing people don't really care about you the way you care about them.
Right. Right.
That was a hard truth. And I know you went through that when you stopped promoting
Mm-hmm.
because people who were in your inbox stopped being there.
Hundreds to zero.
You know what I'm saying? It's like because I was booking New Wave and that got taken away from me when I got hurt. And everybody's like, oh, Sam's non-existent. So when I came back in 2021, which my buddy Khan calls my revenge tour, and they started to see, they saw me coming back like I'm wrestling Elijah Burke, Chris Masters. I'm in the ring with Zach Gowen. I'm in the ring with this person, that person. I'm doing shows back to back to back. I'm traveling. I'm back and forth. I'm mentoring. I'm having seminars. Everyone's like, where did this come from? I'm like, oh, I stopped worrying about what y'all thought about me, and I started having fun. And so now me having fun, I'm better to be around. And now I'm only keeping the people close to me that I need to have close to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Like
feel that.
perspective is everything. Because here's the thing, and I'm gonna put this in a perspective that you'll be like, yep, Ike, you're right. When you first come into wrestling, it's very high school. You just want to fit in. You come in with your backpack on. Hey, buddies, let's be friends. Then you somehow make it to the football team or the basketball team. So you become the shit, or so you think. Then they leave you behind.
The
So what
first time,
happens
the first time they go off school campus for lunch and you don't get to get in the car, that's when you know.
that's when you know what's up. Hey, bro, we ain't got a room, bro. We ain't got a room. What you mean? There's a seat right there. Nah, man, you ain't even trying to go where we going, bro. We out. And so now you standing there with your backpack on the curb looking stupid. So you have to make the decision. Am I going to keep begging people for their attention, or am I going to make you pay attention to me? And now that I've made you pay attention to me, I ain't worried about your opinions. This is how you don't get wrapped up in the day-to-day social media bull. This is how you don't get wrapped up in the drama of pro wrestling. You stop worrying about people's opinion of you, because if they're talking about you, you're living rent-free in their mind. You're doing something right.
Oh,
And
I know I live rent free and plenty.
And that's what dad taught me. That's what my father taught me. And it took me years to finally let it click. Because my dad used to tell me, my dad preacher, he's like, they talked about Jesus, they're going to talk about you. What makes you different? I'm like, man, I hate when you say that, bro. But I hate when you say that. But
Right,
now I'm like, bro, he was right.
right.
Like they were sitting here throwing dirt on my man's name. And Jesus was like, man, I'm just out here living my best life, trying to help folk. I realized that as long as I keep doing right, someone's going to try to find some wrong in what I'm doing. And
Right.
they are going to continue, they are going to dedicate their lives like private investigators to try to figure out how to expose me for being great. And here's the crazy thing about it. Even with me being great, I tell you myself where my faults are. Whoo!
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people can't do that, man. A lot of people can't even like. Yeah, a lot of people are on that hate side of the fence, and that's just weird. Like people
That's
who,
weird energy, bro. That's weird energy. Like
yeah,
you,
it's weird when people like invest themselves, like when promoters like attack other promoters and put their whole like little mind to it. Like I'm gonna sit here for hours and investigate and get all the information I can on this for what? You're not
when you
doing.
could be doing that same thing to help build your brand.
And here's the funny thing: is they take all the information and they don't do with it anything publicly. It's just for them. It's just
Yep,
for them.
I've got it to myself. It's mine. It's mine. I'm gonna use it the perfect day, and then they don't. And you know what, man? Like I'm so confident in me that I tell people when I mess up. Like accountability has become the biggest thing I preach, even like at work. So I'm a lead, and when my commander comes to me and they start explaining to me what went wrong, I go, "Yo, that's on me.
Yep.
I
You
just
have
took
to.
away the blow. I just took away the blow of you yelling at me. Now you have to sit here and go, "Hey, man, you told the truth." Yeah, because I'd rather tell you the truth than for you to find out from somebody else.
And that
It's,
also, and when a real leader does that, your team respects that because even though Gus knows he fucked up and he's the reason why the commander's here yelling at Sam. Sam, as the leader, took that responsibility. And when you take those
yeah.
responsibilities for your team,
Mm-hmm. They
uh,
respect you.
and you're gonna go far with that kind of shit. But if you start passing the buck and like, oh man, that fucking Gus did that. I mean, like I
But
told him
you
what
look
to
stupid.
do. Yeah.
You look stupid in the end, like because now the commander can't trust you because you're a snitch, like whole ass snitch too, bro. Like you out like, and I'm not even talking about half a snitch, bro. I'm talking about whole snitch. You out here throwing your team that you lead under the bus. I tell my team
Mhm.
every single day when we have our meetings, I said I will always take the arrows for you, so you don't have to take them from the management. But trust and believe, we're gonna have a conversation after that. I have to
Right.
hold you accountable after. And some people don't understand that, bro. Like, pro wrestling's the same way. If we out here working and the match goes wrong, I'm not gonna be like, well, such and such. No, hey, bro, that's on both of us, man. That's on us. That's
Mhm.
on me. Maybe you just didn't hear what I said, and that's okay. It's cool. Sam, I'm so sorry, man. I missed that spot. Man, water under the bridge. It was just a wrestling match. We're good. What? Gone are the days of walking in the locker rooms and kicking over bags because somebody missed a clothesline spot. Oops. I've seen a lot of that here, brother. I'm like, oh my
Shit.
god.
I saw Cooter call you out during the match.
During the
holy,
match.
holy potato! And I'm like, he'll
Yeah.
stop. He'll slow
Yep.
down now.
Yeah, I'm slow, brother. That when we rested, that was the night I got hurt. That was the first time I hurt my knee. That was because I remember I had to drive back because I had to fly out that next morning, and I remember I was tagging him, bow, bow, but
Mhm.
because I felt. And I remember that match because I had to call him and apologize to him, and I remember because I felt like I couldn't hear him, he couldn't hear me. He wanted to lead, and I wanted to lead. In reality, I should have humbled myself and listened to the guy who's been doing it longer than me. And I remember I tagged him. Boom! Holy potato! My bad, bro. He gave me one. Boom! I'm like, okay, this is where
Mhm.
we are. And it was a slug fest in San Diego. I remember I sat him in a chair and I went to hit him with a boot and I slipped and my knee went one way. And I remember I came back in the back and I'm like, "Yep, I'm hurt." And he was, I think he was rocked. He was concussed because kept tagging him in the ear. So
Yeah, that was the night his ear was ringing. Yeah.
yeah. I'll never forget it. And I remember he said to me, he called me after and we talked. He said, "Do we have heat?" I was like, "Nah." And he was like, "Well, so what happened up there?" I was like, "I think we both got mad." He said, "Fair. Sorry that I concussed you and I blew my knee out in the process." Like you learn a lot from situations like that. Instead of us being like, "You good? Yeah, man, I'm good. You good? Yeah, man, I'm good." 2 hours later, Facebook status,
Right.
Twitter status.
Right. This fucking
Nah,
guy. This fucking guy.
this guy. No, man, I'm calling you, bro.
Yeah. I remember we
Let's
had a
talk.
match and you didn't want to you turned on me at a match one time.
No, did I turn on you? No, I think it was the other way around. But go ahead.
No, let's go ahead and bring it up right now. This is
Oh,
where
here it goes.
this is where Sam Knight turns on me, guys. So me and Sam Knight started a promotion years ago,
Yep,
and this was our first show. Where were we? We were in
Carlson, California, at Curtis Middle School. I'll never forget it because I remember we sold that place out.
how many people we had there? Like 500 people, 600 people?
Yeah, about 600 people.
Before this, before me and you actually tagged in this match, um, you and Extreme Loco. Then Matt
Yep,
Twisted had came out and started beating on you. Then I
yep.
came out to save you, and for some reason my pockets are hanging out of my pants. I miss shows like this. I miss times like this because like me and you, we had a blast. We had a blast promoting the show because we did pre-show or we did a pre-promotion at the show. Remember?
Yeah, we ended up doing a pep rally.
That's what it
Do you
was.
remember
We
the
did a
pep?
pep
You
rally.
remember the pep rally we did?
Oh my god. I remember walking in a classroom and throwing the belt on some kid's desk that was the bully of the
Yep,
school. And I was like,
yeah,
"Hey, who are you?" And he's like, I'm like, "I
yep,
heard you bullying kids." And he's like, "Nah, nah." And everyone's like, "Yeah, it's him."
yeah, yeah. We was putting kids on blast.
I remember walking in the classrooms. I remember that.
Yeah, we and honestly, it's really something that they still talk about too. I stopped working at the school a little after that, but I remember reaching out and talking to them over there, and they were like, "Man, we remember when you brought wrestling to Curtis, and remember what I kept saying to you when we were putting the show together. I said to you, I was like, we'll have a captive audience, and we surely did have a captive audience."
Oh, when I turn on this is the one I turn on you. Oh wait,
Curtis return on me.
yeah, I turn on you, but you right there didn't want to tag in, so I got beat up, and that's what
Yeah,
made me turn on you. Yeah, you didn't
yeah.
want to.
It's like, nah, brother, you got it, man. Go ahead, get that fight in. If I remember correctly, I think Matt Twisted kept me from tagging in. I think.
No, no, they just showed it right there. No, your ass didn't want to tag in. This was the show. I'll fast forward it if it takes too long, but this was the show that I experienced my first. Like I played heel a couple times, but for the most part, I was always like that. That mutual ass kicker brawler type, and I wasn't really a face. I wasn't really a heel. But this was the first time that I actually did real heel work. And the first time I did real heel work, I had kids throwing shit at me, chasing me. Bro, I remember these kids started chasing me out of the building. It shows it when they started, and the security had to
Let's see
stop
what
them. Like,
happened to
yo,
the
bro.
volume. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Let's see.
Uh-oh. Are you muted? Uh-oh. Well, we're just gonna watch this match till Sam comes back.
Can you
Can
hear
you
me?
hear me? I can hear you.
Can you hear me? I can hear you. All right, you're connected. Okay, you're connected to my car. Cool.
Ah,
I was like, man,
the Bluetooth switch over.
the Bluetooth switch over. Yeah, because I just hopped in the ride. So, but no, man, I think we had a great time
Oh, I just gave him a
putting that all
stunner.
together. I just gave him a stunner. Yeah, you did.
Oh, I can hear the echo.
I tell
Like
you, I
if
can
I
hear the
talk, I can hear
echo.
it
Like
back.
if I talk, I can hear it back. Can you hear now? Can you hear me now?
No, no, like I can hear
No,
myself
like
through
I
your
can hear
speakers.
myself through your speakers. All right, let's turn this off. Give me a second.
All right. Oh, you almost killed Extreme Local right there.
All right, now I can hear you. Now you're in my headphones. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. I can hear
God,
you.
I was so small. I was so small.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Me and
Look how.
me and Harvey got into some shit politically a couple years ago over the whole Donald Trump thing. And honestly, Harvey, if you see this, I literally I literally went back and forth with you out of boredom at work. I hold no grudge against you. I hold no heat against you. It was just fun for me to do. No heat,
Um,
Harvey. No heat. It was all just political fun in the midst of the COVID era.
yeah, because I think we all were bored during the COVID era.
Bored as shit. But yeah, that was our match. I'll show more later. But yeah, man, we had good times. That
Yeah.
school show was real fun, man. I
So I'll say it here because we're in this open space. I'm working on doing something in the county that I work in at the fairgrounds, and I'm working on teaming up with this. It's like a home for kids who've been pulled out of their homes. It's called the Isaiah House. And what I'm doing is working on trying to do a show and hopefully sell out at 700 and something people.
okay.
Now, I say that because we both know how I get when it comes to putting stuff together. So there might be a situation where uh, I may need you.
Let
So
me
we'll
know,
go
man.
from
I'm
there.
in. I'm already in. You already know. I'll
so,
announce it.
uh,
I'm announcer. What do you need, bro?
so we'll get that figured out on the outskirts of said conversation. But
Okay.
uh, I'm just gonna go this way. Uh, they're doing construction over by my gym. So, but yeah, man, we when I remember when we put that show together, man, it was in the midst of a very rough time because our second show, right after our second show, is when Dad died. Because we did the second show at the MMA studio in San Diego, and my father died right after that.
Right.
So yeah, we did some good work, man. I'm very appreciative of the time that we had together too, man. It was great. Um,
Pro Wrestling Massive. PWM.
yeah, yes, Pro Wrestling Massive,
Pro Wrestling.
PWM, man. It was fun times too, man. But it goes back to what we were saying before. Wrestling always has its drama. Wrestling always has its issues, and I think you and I learned a lot from the people from who to book and who not to book, and who to deal with and who to believe. But
And you know what? You
growth,
still don't know who to believe.
no, no, and it's what that's life though, bro. Like you could put your trust in people you've known for years, and then
Right.
something can lead to y'all falling out, and you're just like,
How does that even happen? You know, but
Pretty
people
much.
are flaky. You know, it's just it's life.
It is,
That's
man.
life, man.
It really is. It sucks that you're going away next year, but I'm pretty sure that the school that you'll open will be flourishing because I know it'll be in the cards somewhere, you know.
Yeah, running a school is something I really want to do. Um, I actually plan on opening up a school in either Greencastle, Indiana, or Cloverdale, Indiana. And I'm, like like I said before, you can't really walk away from wrestling. You
Yeah.
can't. You can't really just be like, I'm done, because when you love this business as much as we love this business, it's a part of you. Now, what aspect and what role you play in the business is, that's subject to change. You
Right. That card's always
know,
subject to change.
yeah, it's always subject to change, and I'm okay with being the guy that says, "Hey, I walked away from the physical just so that I can be better with the mental."
I get it.
Fine with that.
Hey man, I trust me, I get it. And I think that's something to leave this off on a good note is a lot of people need to understand that wrestling is a great thing. It's something that will definitely teach you life lessons. But the biggest life lesson you need to understand going in is you have to have your own life outside of that ring and make sure that that life is going to take you somewhere else physically and mentally, especially mentally, because like we were talking about before, man, you could lose all your mental in this game.
Yeah, you really can.
Are you trying
And
to find your Celine Dion CD again?
no, shut up, punk. No, trying to find my hand wraps I just had while I was at the gym. I'm trying to make sure I grabbed it when I walked out that sauna, unless I got to go back to the gym and go get it. Hope I don't have to. But
You didn't walk out with nothing but air and opportunity.
yeah, man, if I did that, I screwed myself. No, man. But as always, man, it's always great catching up with you. I'm appreciative of being able to sit and talk. And I think I may have left him. I'm gonna be mad if I did. I gotta go back and
Sam
get him.
Knight leaves his hand wraps.
Go figure. Turn stage, forgetting stuff.
All right.
But
Sam,
no,
we're
man.
going to
Thank
catch
you.
up on another time too, okay?
Yeah, for sure, most definitely. Let's do that.
We'll get Kyle involved.
Bet I'm down. Yeah, I'm down.
All right,
All right,
man. Go
brother.
get
Let's
your
catch
hand
up
wraps,
soon.
brother. You have a good night.
You too, man. Take care now.
Later.